In 99.8%, 99.9% of cases, you absolutely can gender somebody based on looking at them.
So how difficult is becoming to define who a man is and who a woman is? I believe it's important for some of us to take biology lessons. So in this video, we're going to be seeing Ben Shapiro explaining basic biology to a college student.
I've kind
So
of
have
pondered.
I, for this moment.
Yeah, I've kind of pondered how to ask this, but how does your view of transgender issues work when scientific anti-realism as a concept exists?
You're going to have to explain that one.
All right, so scientific anti-realism is the concept that when you see me, you see, my skin, my hands, everything about me, but you do not see my cells, you do not see my atoms, you do not see the things that make up the things, they are just physical. So there is no really true way to prove, other than by hitting me, obviously, that I am right here, if it is only us two talking. So therefore, this would apply to...
No other way to prove that I'm right here other than hitting me? Oh.
Any gendering things, including intersex, which can have an XX or XY chromosome and have androgen or estrogen insensitivity. So
I just need you to narrow this down. Is
yeah,
the argument
what
that
I'm
things
trying...
that we don't understand the nature of things because we don't have microscopes, and therefore we can't determine sex?
I would like to narrow it down to...
If you put it that way, Mr. Ben.
We cannot fully identify a gender of a person right when we see them, so therefore I believe that it is not within my own individual liberty to gender that person.
Okay, here's my problem with that particular argument. The answer...
I feel like I must applaud the young man. He's been able to put the question in a constructive manner. Usually people are not able to do so. People try to make it emotional and try to almost fight Ben Shapiro. But I like the fact that he's coming from somewhere, so I must comment that question.
The answer is that in 99.8%, 99.9% of cases, you absolutely can gender somebody based on looking at them. Like really, if you're going to use intersex people as an example of not being able to do that, this does not obviate the biological duality of sex upon which all progeneration is based for all of human history and for all mammalian species. So intersex people do not invalidate the concept of sex as a generality. Intersex people are people who have a biological anomaly. And by the way, in most cases of intersex, those people still manifest as either a male or a female. So the idea that intersex exists does not invalidate the idea that there is a male and that there is a female, or that in nearly all cases, I can tell the difference.
So his point is intersex is biological anomaly. Let me know what you guys think of that. Yeah, it's not something that should happen, basically. That's how I interpret it. Not something that should happen, but it's something that has happened because something went wrong.
Difference between a male and a female. Again, I'm not saying, by the way, that if you can show me your chromosomal charts that you are actually not a male, when I say that you're a male, that I should stick with that biological objective standard. Like my perception of you, in other words, is subject to my correct enunciation of an objective standard. So the objective standard, here's the deal. For all of human history, there was an objective standard between male and female. It was, for nearly all of human history, out of partial ignorance and partially because this is usually true, it was out of simply looking at people's genitals and assessing them based on their outward appearance, right? Which is still true for nearly all human beings on planet Earth at all times. Okay. What was that?
You can't really describe someone without secondary sex characteristics and gender them into something.
Well, I mean, you can based on primary sex characteristics if you can see their genitals. Doctors do this literally at birth all the time, right? So this is but your point is correct. If somebody was male dressed as a female and I misgendered them and then they said, "Oh look, I'm male," zip, right? Then I would say correct, and then correct. I would say, for all of human history, you were male. Now the standard is chromosomal. Right, it's the SR and Y gene and all of this.
So which one should be primary? Is it your physical identification or the internal, which is a chromosomal identification? Which one should be the primary way to recognize people? So my question is, if you see somebody on the street right now and your eye and your senses tell you that's a man, should you call them males or should you refer to him as a he? Or try to identify his inner workings and refer to them correctly? I don't know if I'm making sense. Basically, should we judge a book by its cover? That's what I'm asking. Because it's not clear these days, it's not really clear these days.
There is some objective standard, in other words, by which we can determine sex. The problem I have with the transgender argument is that people are arguing that there is no objective standard, that no objective standard exists by which I can determine sex. And in fact, sex is completely subjective. I can determine my own gender based on no biology, and in fact, in abeyance of biology. I can have every single biological characteristic of a male, and if I say I am female, then I am female. This is anti-scientific nonsense.
Yes. I agree with that. Just to be very clear, I agree with what he says. P.S. Morgan said the same thing. He said he's a two-spirit penguin, and someone said he's not, that he's joking with people who identify as what they want to identify as. He said he's chosen to identify as a two-spirit penguin. Why wouldn't they respect him as a two-spirit penguin? Somebody came out to identify as a broccoli. I believe recently I saw a video of that. It's still on Piers Morgan. Someone identified as a broccoli. The other day somebody said, I'm invisible, so call me transparent. My pronouns are where. You see where this is going? It's becoming a trend and it's getting comedic as the time goes by. So anyways, let's keep hearing Ben.
Yes, Caitlyn Jenner had every biological characteristic of a male. There is no evidence whatsoever that Caitlyn Jenner was a female, because Caitlyn Jenner was an Olympic athlete as a male, with all of the chromosomes and all of the junk and all of it, right? That is it. That is a biological male. And then we are supposed to believe that Caitlyn Jenner is a female. Listen, I'm happy to call Caitlyn Jenner Caitlyn, because people can legally change their name. If I were out to dinner with Caitlyn Jenner, I wouldn't go out of my way to say Caitlyn Jenner is a he, because why would I want to have a bad dinner with somebody? But if I'm speaking in public with folks, and I'm talking about the presence of sex, there is not a biologist worth their salt on planet Earth who would say that sex does not exist. Yeah, I agree. So if sex exists, then what are the characteristics of sex? And the problem with biological anti-realism or scientific anti-realism, as you're suggesting, is that there is no actual standard of sex. That is completely...
Just to address something that I'm noticing with Ben Shapiro, there's another argument. People are saying, in order to speak in subjects like this, we should remove sex from gender. We should place them as independent components. So I'm noticing Ben Shapiro is using both interchangeably. Some people might argue that he's doing it or he's saying it wrong. So let me know what you guys think. But people now are making arguments to not to use them interchangeably, that they mean two different things.
Malleable. It's okay. Sorry. Do you have a quick response? I don't want to cut you off.
I'm not saying that sex is malleable. I'm saying there is male and female biologically. That is true, yes.
Right.
But I'm saying that gender is a spectrum. I'm saying that there is at least male, female, and non-binary because of this strange.
And what I'm saying is that there's a word game that goes on when people discuss gender. Because if we are talking about certain characteristics to which we attribute to masculine or feminine, if you want to say that there's a genetic male with feminine characteristics, we're fine. That's a male with feminine characteristics. Fine. That's fine. I mean, okay. So you're a man with feminine characteristics. That's cool. Who cares? Mm-hmm. Okay, but that doesn't make you a woman. In other words, if you are going, what we are now doing is we're playing a semantic game where we say a male with feminine characteristics is a woman. That's nonsense. Or a woman with male characteristics, masculine characteristics, is a man. That's nonsense too. And by the way, it actually ends up misgendering a lot of people who are just butch women or effeminate men. Right? So all of this. So in other words, by trying to separate out gender and sex completely, and then by using terms like male and female or woman and man that are innately connected to sex, what you are doing is deliberately, not you, what people are doing is deliberately confusing the issue such that you get idiocies like Ilhan Omar writing to the Powerlifting Association of the USA saying that a transgender woman who is a biological male should be able to compete against biological women because it is a myth that men can pick up heavier objects than women. That is not a myth.
It's been banned now, guys. It's been banned now. So this is an old story.
That's called science. Thank you.
Ben Shapiro. Honestly, this young man that spoke up, I respect him. I do respect him, honestly. I do respect him. He was very well composed, asked the question the right way, made his arguments accordingly. I like when you talk like that. It doesn't matter what the argument is. Like, you can make the shittiest argument as long as you're able to bring up facts, I'm not saying this argument is shitty. I'm just saying, in any case, as long as you're able to compose yourself and bring up some data and facts, it could be accepted. So I do commend him. But I'm leaning towards Ben Shapiro on this one. I feel like everybody should be respected. Everybody should be loved. This is not a thing of somebody trying to lean you and make you transphobic. No. Everybody should be loved, should be respected. You meet anybody, you show them the same amount of respect as any other person. But when it comes to identification, you cannot just identify with something, like Ben Shapiro said, that is semantically wrong. In any world or any space, element is wrong. We cannot just do that. So yeah, it was a good argument. Let me know your thoughts on that video. If you want us to bring more by Ben Shapiro, feel free to let me know in the comment section. I like watching all these arguments, and when he's wrong, I'm going to tell you he's wrong. I'm not a Ben Shapiro fanboy, but I appreciate his work and I respect his work. So if you want to see more, feel free to let me know in the comment section. That being said, is the end of this one. Don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a wonderful day. Peace.